having a wonderfully weird day today. Do we like my pajamas? All cozy. It's Winnie the Pooh. It's so cute. But anyways, yes, I was gone for like 2 weeks, but I pulled a muscle in my ribs. If you've ever had like a pinched nerve or pulled a muscle in your ribs, you'll know what I'm talking about. I actually thought I was going to leave this earth at any point. I was prepared, I was ready, I lost a lot of sleep. It hurt to inhale. Like, I would not recommend. I've also had a lot of like brain fog. Yeah, a lot of brain fog. It's just been cold and I've been sluggish. But anyways, we're gonna get right on with this video, which is a beginner's guide for Wuthering Waves. Now, if you've never heard of Wuthering Waves, oh my goodness, you need to get on the wave. No pun intended. It's essentially a gacha game, but more fun. Yeah, where you throw your money away to stare at pretty characters. I personally don't spend my money. I just have insane luck. Maybe you can too. But if you spend your money, that's also okay. But hey ho, first and foremost, the choice you have to make when you first start the game is what character you're gonna pick, either male or female rover. This is the easiest choice you're ever gonna have to make in the entire game. To make it. It doesn't really matter. I'm always team female rover. Might just be biased. I'm for the girls. I love the girls. So female rover it is. But once you start the game, I recommend just going with the story. Especially if you're just starting now. You have so much to explore. The story also opens up all of the map for you. The majority of the map for you. Especially like the big waypoints, which allows you to see where all the other tiny little teleporting waypoints are that you can unlock as you go through the story or as you explore later on. But I definitely recommend going with the story, especially since I personally find the story so entertaining. You can also skip. Oh, I dropped something on my desk. Oh dear. But you can also skip. The trusty skip button for when you're over listening to a conversation, like me. But the best thing about the skip button is it gives you a summary. It summarizes what they were what they were babbling on about. Oh my goodness. The skip button gives you a summary of what they were talking about if you're not a major lore whore. Because my attention span is not really there. At a certain point, I'm just like, okay, pack it up. Give me this summarized version, because even though I'm listening, my brain hasn't really retained the information, you know? But as you do go on with the story as well, save your astrites. You get these little, that scared me, but it's my cat. I was like, who the hell is that? It's my cat. You get these little diamond things that you use to pull for characters. They're called astrites. Save them. Save them. Especially if you're just starting the game now. You have so much to do that you're gonna have a bunch of astrites, which allows you to do so many pulls. And it gives you a chance to really save for characters you really want. And speaking of characters you really want, don't just pull for the hype. Don't pull characters just because you see everybody else pulling for them. Pull for them because you genuinely like the character. Because at the end of the day, it's your game, not anyone else's. You're the one that's got to play it. So just because somebody else thinks this is a must-have character doesn't mean you have to pull for them. I say really, you can look at their kit. What is it that they actually do? What is it that, like, what other characters are compatible with them? And 2, how much you like them. Don't just pull for a character just because they're good, because they have a good kit, and because they're compatible with a lot of characters. If you don't vibe with the character, or you're like, no, I don't really like them that much, then don't pull for them. It's your account. Do what you want. People might disagree, but who cares? It's your account. The main thing is to have fun. It's a game. It's never that serious. So make sure you save and pull for characters you genuinely want, especially if you are free to play like me. If you don't spend your money, you definitely need to save more. And even if you do spend money, you don't have to pull for every single character that comes on the banner. Like I said, make sure you actually like the character, you're actually going to use them, and they're not just going to be sitting there for the sake of it. But yes, save your astrites, continue with the story. It also gives you a chance to meet a lot of characters and really get to know each character, and then from there you really get to pick your favorites. Like for me, Camellia, I love her character when she was introduced, and I knew I just had to have her. That's the kind of vibe you want when you pull for characters. You're definitely going to use, like, she's in my team 24/7. Now, speaking of teams, we've moved on to building characters. I would always advise building 1 to 2 characters at a time, no more than that, especially since you need, a lot of materials. You don't want to waste it on characters you probably won't use as often, if that makes sense. Have a set team from the beginning. The quicker you kind of like have a team put together, the easier it is when it comes to building and who to build. If you get my drift, there's no point in like building 5, 6, 7 different characters, because you're not going to end up building them properly. You're not going to have enough resources to build them to at least a decent level, especially in the beginning, because the quicker you kind of build the characters, especially in the beginning, the easier it is, because as you progress, the harder it is to fight against some of the enemies and some of the bosses that you need materials from. So the moment you kind of start the game and you get a feel for it, get to building a team. Get your solid team, start that, and go from there. Now, you might be like, hey, but how does one build? How does one build a team? How do I get the materials? It's okay. You have these things called echoes. Now, when I first saw it, I was really, really confused. I was like, what the heck is this? What's an echo? What am I looking at? Too much information. My brain was boggled, but it's actually not as complicated as it looks. Echoes are essentially artifacts. If you play Genshin or Honkai Star Rail, you'll know what I mean. They're basically artifacts that help, make your character stronger so you don't die as quickly, and so that you can kill enemies quickly. That's what they're for. The good thing about Wuthering Waves is it does have a filter section. So when you go on different characters, I will of course show a visual representation as always for my visual learners, because again, I am not the best at explaining things. I'm more of a visual learner myself. But when you click on a certain character, it does give you advice on what kind of echoes they need based on their elements. Another good thing is they all have combat roles. They all have different combat roles, and you can see literally on their main information, the main screen, when you go onto your character profiles, character profiles, what each combat role is. You can just click on the 3 little dots and it tells you, well, depending on what you're playing on, it will tell you regardless what their roles are. So healers, main DPSs, which is damage dealers, sub DPSs, X, Y, and Z. That definitely does help a lot, because you know what to focus on, whether this character probably needs more defense, whether this person needs more healing, crit rate, crit damage, X, Y, Z. Now, when it comes to talents and leveling up those kind of talents, I definitely do recommend Googling and looking on a guide, because it is hard to remember all this kind of information, especially when you're first starting out. But definitely Google, and there's so many different websites that essentially give you an idea of what talents to focus on first. Don't try to do all of them at once. It kind of like makes it harder. When you prioritize certain talents first, it just makes it a lot easier. Again, it's just so that you don't waste materials, essentially. Now, my last piece of advice would definitely be to pick up anything you see. flower, rock, I don't care. Pick it up. Trust me, it ties into materials and things like that. You use it a lot for crafting, leveling up characters. It just makes it a lot easier if you pick up things as you go along. You can track things also, which is helpful, but if you do pick up things as you go on, it just makes it easier, so you're not spending hours tracking for flowers that you could have just picked up along the way, if that makes sense. But at the end of the day, it is just a game. When you do look at characters to put together and who to put with who, just remember it's your game. You're supposed to have fun with it. Don't feel this pressure to have the same kind of build or the same kind of team comps as everybody else, because although it may make things easier, if you don't enjoy it, there's no point. It's just a game. You're there to have fun. There's no point in making it into homework. The more you play, the more you'll learn, the more you'll understand. That's just how I did it. Again, Google's also your best friend. Just Google any materials that you might need. If you're very into farming, then you'll find that enjoyable. But yes, that is a quick beginner's guide to Wuthering Waves. I hope I was of some help. I know I'm not the best at explaining things, but there will be, of course, some video for the visual learners. But yeah, I hope you all have a weird and wonderful day. I hope you enjoy your game like I do. I love Wuthering Waves. Sponsor me, I'm joking. Okay, but stay weird, stay wonderful. Bye bye, hearts.